Welcome, 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 welcome to the Impact Show. It's Samuel I Can Win. I'm your host for tonight, and I'm really looking forward to tonight's show because we've got so much value packed in to share with you. And I'm also even looking forward to the people that are going to be calling in tonight. And sharing kind of their property journey and maybe the challenges that they're facing. So tonight is another strategy in the storm session where we're going to basically be adding value to you through means of helping you strategize through your particular property scenarios and particular property situations, whatever they may be. So what I want to do just to get started with is a little bit of housekeeping. If you are on the stream for the first time, I'd love you to write in the comments, I'm here for the first time. If you're back again, I want you to write in the comments, I'm back again. And I just want you guys to let me know if you're here for the first time or if you're back again watching us on the Impact Show. Now, it's a great pleasure to be here, guys, just because people need help right now. Okay, and it's easy to forget that. It's easy to not think about that. It's easy to be selfish in your endeavors, in your property journey, and not think about other people. But it makes more sense to add value to other people, and that's something I've been doing for a number of years. And part of the reason I've been doing that is because value was added to me through means of the coaches, trainers that I had in my property journey who helped me move forward in property, as well as those that I have right now who continue to support me, to give me insights and to help me move forward. And the feeling you get when you see people move forward as well is even more exponential to the feeling you get when people help you. So this is part of the reason why we're doing strategy in the storm in order to help people move forward in their property journey. So if you are on your property journey, whether you're an absolute beginner or whether you're someone who's been doing property for a while, what I want you to do whilst you're on this show, if you've got specific questions, in a moment we're going to put the number up on the screen. What I want you to do is call in with your questions, call in with your property challenges, call in with your property issues and circumstances so we can help you strategize and move forward. Now, just to get us kick-started, I guess it's kind of like the disclaimer and very well worth just sharing with you guys so you understand that this is not about, pitching you guys. This is not about taking you guys somewhere where you can't go yourself. This is just about supporting you guys from giving a different vantage point to the particular property issues that you may be facing. Okay. And this is what strategy is all about. Strategy is all about looking at things slightly differently. Okay. So if I was you, how would I look at it? Okay. And that alone can become massively helpful and valuable. I want to show you guys something so you get an understanding of what I'm talking about. On the Impact Show, we're utilizing a principle that is inside of this audiobook. This audiobook is the Think and Grow Rich audiobook by Napoleon Hill. And one of the most powerful strategies that Napoleon Hill talks about is called the mastermind principle. And the mastermind principle, fairly simply put, is this: multiple minds coming together around one problem is much more powerful than a single mind thinking about a single problem. So what that basically means is the reason we do this show, the Impact Show, the reason I take my time as a property investor to spend some time with you guys on the live stream is in order for you guys to get your questions answered, is in order for you guys to be able to have a secondary mind to think about your property journey with. It's in order for you guys to be able to say, you know what, I was thinking about it like this, and because I was thinking about it like this, I thought these were the only outcomes. But you know what, sometimes there are some other outcomes. Sometimes there are some other ways to look at things. Sometimes there are some other ways to do things also. So what we want to do on this show is provide you guys with some insights into those other ways. So here it goes. Just quickly before we jump into the meat of tonight's session, I'm going to be reading you guys our simple disclaimer, which basically states that all information provided and results that are going to be shared are exemplary. They're examples tonight. Okay, I might give you a case study. I might say to you, look, this is a real scenario of a student I'm working with currently in terms of my coaching, or I might say to you, this is a real scenario in terms of my own portfolio or what I'm doing or some of my friends, some of my contacts. But I want you to see all of this as examples, because unless it's you I'm speaking about, you still have to go a long way, or you still have to make a journey in order to get there yourself. So I want you to be mindful of that. Now, each person's results may vary or differ. Results are based on consistent strategies being applied, and we advise that you always seek legal, financial advice from a qualified professional if you are going to take any of the recommendations that we may share. So I hope that's helpful to you. Now, what I want you guys to do, if you are ready to go for tonight's live stream, we are 5 minutes in. We got the housekeeping out the way. What I want you to do is write in the comments, I'm ready to go. Okay, if you're ready to go in the comments, just put in the comments for me, I'm ready to go. Let's get the fire burning so we can push forward with tonight's live stream. So again, the Impact Show is going to be on tonight. It's going to be pumping tonight. Let me know if you are ready to go. All right, so we got the number up right now. Anybody who wants to call in, get some support in terms of their property journey, get some support in terms of what they're actually doing in property, get some answers, okay? In a world where people are running scared, in a season, in a time, in a climate where people have no idea what to do, in a season and time where the people you think and hope are going to help you are actually probably as scared as you are too, I've decided to make myself available to support people in the community. So again, guys, I can see it already. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that comment coming through. Ryan's here, first time listening. Happy to see you on, Ryan. Again, guys, anyone who's watching right now, if it's your first time, just write in the comments, it's my first time watching the Impact Show. If you've been here before, just write been here before, okay? Let us know where you're coming from. So I've got these comments coming in. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And like I said, the telephone number is right here above my head. Feel free to dial into the number and utilize the access code. Now, when you dial in, you're going to be on a conference call. All you need to do is wait until we take the calls. And when we take the calls, we will basically be speaking to you. And again, a bit of housekeeping for those of you who are going to call in. Please, please, please remember that if you're on the call, you're on the call. And you got to turn YouTube off, or you got to mute YouTube at least, so you don't get confused, because usually there is a slight delay with the YouTube feed and with the actual call. The call's in real live time, okay? And the YouTube feed is a 3 or 4 second delay. So guys, without further ado, as I've said, the number's up here. Feel free to call it. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Okay, hit the subscribe button. There's no reason that you shouldn't subscribe, because next week, if we're going to run another live stream, you want to be made aware. And the only way you're going to be made aware is if you've hit the subscribe button and you've also hit the bell notification. So feel free to become part of our community. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Side by side with that, if you haven't already, I've already seen a like go through. If you haven't already, hit the like button so you can be a part of what we're doing. All right, guys. So let's jump in. What I want to talk to you guys about before I take the first callers is a concept which I've been sharing with a number of people, okay? And this concept basically was birthed more so out of a particular conversation that I had recently. Now, in this conversation, I was talking to one of my coaching clients, and the coaching client was talking to me about how are they gonna go and conduct viewings, okay? So on this coaching call yesterday, they were asking me, but how am I gonna conduct viewings? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? And what I basically started to share, and again, those of you who are new to the channel, we have a number of videos on the channel which will be segues into some of the things I'm going to talk about. So, you know, when you finish on this live stream, feel free to go look at the channel, feel free to go watch some of the videos. But in one of the videos which I recorded recently, this video was the video titled Why They're Rich and Why You're Poor, okay? Or maybe that was the title I wanted to give it. And just to be correct, or politically correct, to be nice to the world, I ended up calling the video Why They're Rich and Why They're Poor as it pertains to property. So like I said, when you finish this live stream, go find that video, Why They're Rich and Why They're Poor, as it pertains to property. Now, in that video, I talk about one particular concept which is very, very powerful, and that's the concept of leverage. And when I was talking to this coaching client recently, the coaching client said to me, look, but Samuel, how am I going to do viewings? But Samuel, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? I'm in a climate right now where I don't know how I can actually move forward. I don't know how I can progress in my property journey. And I said to the coaching client, I said, listen, I said, now is the time, not in these exact words, but I said, now is the time to leverage. Okay, I basically said now is the time to leverage. And I started to give that particular coaching client so many different insights into how you can leverage right now in this current climate. Okay, and also how you can negotiate in this current climate, which is still an act of leverage, okay? Because negotiation is a different type of leverage, but everything can be negotiated, and thus there's leverage to be had, there's leverage to utilize, there's leverage that we can use in order to move forward. So I want to encourage you guys, if you've got property challenges, if you've got property issues, if you're challenged with anything specifically in your property journey, feel free to just call in, okay? Feel free to call in. Feel free to pick up the phone, dial the number, okay, 0330 606 40403. okay, and hit the access code 695922. Okay, use those credentials to call in. I haven't even checked how many callers we've got so far. I know week one we had so many callers we couldn't even get to all of them. Week two we had quite a few callers as well. Okay, so if you've got specific property challenges and you want to strategize with Samuel I Can Win and Kim Win, the guy who cares about the community, who wants to push people forward in their property journey, regardless of the scenario, regardless of the climate, and helping you to protect yourself, safeguard yourself whilst doing it in this climate, then feel free to call the number above. All right. So, guys, like I said, with the specific coaching client, that's what we were talking about yesterday night. We were talking specifically about how to protect yourself through means of leveraging. And in this climate, that is going to be crucial. All right. In this climate, that is going to be crucial. So let me see who's looking for help today. We're going to jump onto the phones and see if we have any callers that are in yet who are looking for support and looking for help in terms of their property business. And equally, side by side with that, I'm going to be looking into the comments. Okay, excellent. Thank you. So we've got the video posted in the comments already. Why They Are Rich video. Thank you ever so much. So let me ask this question, okay? If you got comments as well, feel free to throw the comments in. We prefer to take the callers because the callers allow us to really get into the meat and bones of the problems that people are facing. But I'm going to go back and talk to you guys a little bit more about this concern with leverage. So one of the things I was talking to the coaching client about yesterday was how you can leverage specifically with brand new transactions. Okay, now there's going to be some people in the property market right now who are going to be saying, look, I can't take on any new transactions. The reason I can't take on any new transactions is because I don't know if I can tenant them. Okay, so 2 weeks ago on one of the live streams or one of the webinars we ran recently, we had a young man, Aziz, who was asking similar question to that. He was saying, well, if you can't tenant a property during this period, how do you actually get tenants? And one of the things I was sharing with Aziz is nobody has said legally you cannot tenant properties at this time. Okay, so there isn't a legal issue around tenanting properties at this time, and I want you guys to be very mindful of that. There is a massive difference between what's law and legislation and what's propaganda, media, story, headline, tabloid, etc. Okay, and this is so vitally important. The reason I say this is so vitally important, I want to give you an example. We had 2 weeks ago, and I referenced this last week on the live stream. We had 2 weeks ago Michael Gove make a statement which went on a lot of the newspapers. And what he basically said is that he's going to encourage lenders to no longer lend throughout this period. And he's also advising people to not exchange on property. Now, if you listen to that language, advising and encouraging, okay, that's not legislation, guys. Okay, that's not legislation. That's not law. That's not something that if you do not keep, you are going to be in trouble for. You are going to be breaking the law. Okay, so the key is, all right, how do I effectively, and in this current climate, which is very important, some people are not thinking about this, but not only effectively, but how do I safely, okay, because health is obviously of optimum importance right now, but how do I effectively and safely, even if you want to add the word efficiently, which I think is just inside of effectively anyway, how do I effectively and safely tenant properties at this time? Okay, because what's going to be happening is a lot of things which are going to be creating problems for people. Okay, and you don't want to be one of those people who are in that world of the challenge, who are in that world of the problems, who are in that world of I don't know what to do, and because I don't know what to do, I don't know how to react, and because I don't know how to react, I don't know how to respond, and as a result, I'm just panicking. Because that's what a lot of people do at this time. And I've referenced Warren Buffett a number of times in a number of our live streams, also in a number of our webinars. Like Warren Buffett has a mantra, whatever other people are doing, whatever the majority of people are doing, he does the opposite. So if you think about that mantra, right now, whilst many people are afraid, whilst many people are selling off their portfolios, I just had a coaching call just before I jumped onto the live stream. In the coaching call before I jumped onto the live stream, one of the things my coaching client was sharing with me, which again is very important, she was basically saying to me, do I think the market is going to recover on the strategies such as service apartments and rent to rent? Samuel, what do you think? Do you think the rent to rent and service apartment, in environments, those industries, are they going to recover in light of what's basically taking place and what's going on right now? And I said something really interesting. I said, look, if I was the government, right now would be the time I'd be going out of my way to implement legislation into fields like the service apartment world, because that's for the last 3-4 years. That's what the government have been saying they're going to do. For the last 3-4 years, the government have been saying, yeah, we're going to crack down on illegal SAs. We're going to crack down on illegal runnings of service apartments, etc., etc. So what I want you guys to think about is this a key time for legislation to be implemented? But what I went on to explain also to the coaching client is because we're in a place right now where potentially the government look like they're on the back foot. They're trying to work out what do they do with the corona thing? What's the state of the NHS? How do we actually keep people on lockdown? Because there's so many things the government look like they're juggling right now, it might actually be a case where although, yes, they should start using this as a perfect time to implement legislation, they may not. And as a direct byproduct, that means that the SA market, the rent-to-rent market, by SA I mean service accommodation, if you're not familiar with that, but the SA, the service accommodation market, and the rent-to-rent market are potentially going to continue to get away with some of the things that they were getting away with, okay? And that's not a bad thing, guys. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, generating funds, generating income, generating revenue, those kind of things are not bad things. They're actually really, really positive things. So it's important to think about how you can move forward in this climate. Okay. And acquisition, like I was speaking to my coaching client yesterday about, acquisition in this time is not a bad thing, especially if you understand how to structure it, how to move on with it, and how to make it happen. But side by side with that, not only acquisition, but the maintenance of particular properties in your portfolio. I've got guys around me who have reached out and said to me, look, Samuel, I got so many service apartment opportunities because people are just selling off the opportunities that they jumped into prior. Okay. And guys, this stuff happens. This stuff is reality. This stuff happens. There's people who were signing service apartment contracts or deals just before lockdown happened. So as a direct byproduct, they're going to have assets they want to offload because they haven't even started marketing. They haven't even got video footage. They haven't even got photos adequately. And then they got told they got to stay at home. Okay, so you need to think about, okay, if I am going to acquire right now, what's my process? What's my protocol? How can I do that effectively? How can I do that sharply? How can I do that in a way where I'm going to get massive value? How am I going to do that in a way? Another thing which a lot of my coaching clients are reaching out to me, talking to me about, and I'm helping a lot of them with, how am I going to structure for security? How am I going to put myself in a position where I'm actually secure, i.e., I'm not financially bleeding through this period? Okay, and this is a real thing. These are real concepts which people are really being challenged by. And if you know what you're doing, you can successfully navigate through this market. And I want to share something with you guys. I've spoken to you guys a little bit about leverage already, but I want to share with you a little concept. And what that is real entrepreneurs are problem solvers. I want you to understand that true and real entrepreneurs are problem solvers. What does that mean? What that means is we currently are faced with a problem. That problem is, how can I generate more income in the midst of this climate? For example, if you're an entrepreneur, that may be your question. And if you didn't write that down and you got a pen and paper, that's the note you need to write down. If you're currently an entrepreneur, you may have the question in your mind, how do I generate more revenue? How do I make more money? How do I generate more income at this particular time in spite of the current climate? Okay? So if these are things that you're thinking about, if these are things that are going through your head, if you're a true entrepreneur and you're really about solving problems, so you're thinking, okay, I need to solve the problem. How can I solve this problem? If that's really you, then that's what you should be focused on. Okay? That's what you should be focused on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start the comments today. I'm going to jump into the comments. We've got Ryan, who's brand new to the show. Welcome, Ryan. He's written a question. His question is, he's a first-time buyer, ready to buy just before the lockdown. What's your opinion on the predicted price drop in the coming months? My opinion is, we know what's going to happen. Okay, I'll share it with you like this, Ryan. A mentor of mine used to say to me years ago, Samuel, the one thing we learn from history is that we do not learn from history. Okay, and I just want you to say that to yourself a couple of times, Ryan, or anyone as you're viewing this. If you're watching this at home or wherever you are, I want you to say that to yourself. Like, the problem we learn from history is that we do not learn from history. Look, if you're watching this and you just heard that quote, just you should be hitting like. Okay, hit the like button just for that quote alone. The problem is we don't learn from history. That's the problem. So let me explain to you, let me extrapolate that idea to help you guys understand exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? The one thing we learn from history is we do not learn from history. What does that mean? Well, right now, economically, I'm not talking about the health issues. I'm not talking about the circumstantial issues, the lockdown, etc. Just financially, from an economic standpoint, if you look at the stock market, if you look at what's happening economically in the country, in the nation, in the globe right now, when there is an economic turmoil, when there's economic turmoil or an economic downturn, naturally what happens is price on property take a dip. Property prices generally tend to take a dip. That's fact. That's repeatable fact. So those of you who know me, you know my first degree was in computing and statistics. My first master's was in statistics. Like, I'm a numbers man at heart. Okay, and what do I mean by saying I'm a numbers man at heart? At heart, because I'm a numbers man, one of the things I understand is that there are such things as trends. Like, statistically, that's what we look at. In statistics, you look at probabilities, you look at trends, you look at the confidence of information, and you look at predictions. Those four key camps are four key things in the world of statistics. Now, the reason I'm sharing that with you is if you understand trends, there were a number of people. I'll give you this. One of the mortgage brokers, he's actually a bridging finance expert, okay, that I'm connected with. His name's Rory O'Mara, okay? Great guy to connect with. Rory O'Mara, a great guy to connect with. He's the director of a company called Closed Bridging Finance, okay? Now, this was probably about a year ago. I invited Rory to speak at one of my networking events in Canary Wharf. And when I invited Rory to speak, one of the things Rory spoke about is what he called the property cycle. Now listen guys, Rory never made up the property cycle. The property cycle was something that Rory had picked up from his research, from his experience as an investor, and also from actually reading certain books. There's certain people, certain authors who write about the property cycle. And what the property cycle basically summarizes or breaks down is that roughly every 18 years, you should expect some kind of economic downturn or some kind of property crash. Okay, now I don't like using the term crash because when things happen economically, a lot of the time there's many people, especially depending on the severity of the economic issue, there are a lot of people who are not actually affected by it, okay, or don't believe or perceive themselves to be affected by it. So I'll give you an example. In 2008, when we had the previous crash, at that time I was dabbling in property, but I was actually studying a master's degree. That was what I was doing full time. I was finishing my full-time master's in statistics. So the point I'm making is, financially, I didn't feel as though, whilst the whole world was saying, oh, there's a crisis, there's a credit crisis, there's a global phenomenon going on, I didn't feel like there was a global phenomenon going on. I felt like I had an assignment due. I felt like I had a dissertation due. I felt like I needed to hand in my coursework. So I hope you, whoever you are watching this, sitting down, understand what I'm talking about. You know, there are crises that take place financially, economically, which affect certain people who are invested in the market at that time. Okay, but there's a whole lot of people who are not actually affected by this. And because there's a whole lot of people who are not actually affected by it, like, to think in your mind like, oh, everybody's affected, oh, this is affecting me, oh, this is gonna affect, no, like, guys, that's not a reality. And we very, very quickly, especially the more you've been in property, the more you've invested, the more assets you've acquired, you start to realize that, hold on a minute, that's not actually the reality. Like, there's certain issues when there's maybe oil tanking, when oil is tanking, when oil's dipping in the marketplace, financially, economically across the globe, that might not affect you as a property investor, okay? But other things might affect you, okay? So with regards to house prices, Ryan, I would say I do expect after the lockdown there to be, and not only after the lockdown, I think, yes, let me explain this. Let me give you the context so you understand what I'm really saying. Because if I go with your question, the problem is I'll be giving you information based on your question. And I always say this to people, even the people that call in, the quality of your answer is determined by the quality of your question. So you ask a great question, you get great answers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly shift what I'm saying to you about your question so you can get exactly my real take on the surrounding issues, which I think are more important. I personally believe during the lockdown period, there will be a negative effect on property prices, generally nationally. Okay, so that's my loose assumption. Okay, and it makes sense. Why? If more people are less mobile, if less people are moving around, as a direct byproduct, less people are going to be buying. Okay, and if less people are buying, if you follow business principles, supply and demand is the main concepts behind business, then there's gonna be a higher amount of supply and less demand. If there's a higher amount of supply and less demand because less people are mobile, and as a direct product byproduct, less people are buying, prices will dip. So whether you're a first time buyer, whether you're an investor, it doesn't matter. The market, because that's what property is. Property as an industry is a market. The market is based on supply and demand. Who's got the supply? Who is there a demand? So as a direct byproduct, just to be very transparent with you, Ryan, I do believe there's going to be a property price decrease. Now, partly in the property world, because the property world is not like the internet forex world, or it's not like the stock market world. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because if you are a stock trader, if you trade on the forex, or if you trade on the stock market, and those of you who are interested in that stuff, feel free to connect with How to Trade Forex for Profits, Vintage Education, who is one of the admins on here right now. You can connect to them, go watch their channel. They've got a lot of great content on forex. But the point I want to share with you is, if you come from a forex background, or if you come from a stock market background, one of the things you're going to quickly understand is that markets move upwards, downwards, and they consolidate. Okay, so consolidation is in property, what we call that is stagnation. So the market's not really going up, it's not really going down, it's not trending. If you're in the forex world or the stock market world, you understand the term trend. So you have an upward trend in some markets, you have a downward trend in some markets, and you have consolidation, where basically the market is stagnant. It's moving up, it's moving down, but it's not really moving anywhere. It's not moving up to any considerable trend. It's not moving down to any considerable trend. Now, why is this important in terms of what I'm sharing with you? The reason this is important, guys, is because what you have to understand with Ryan's question is, in the property market, because we don't understand, or we don't look at things as upward trends and downward trends, or, well, the reality is we only look at them in property as up and down. Prices are going up or prices are going down. We don't a lot of the time consider the stagnation or the consolidation period. So the point I'm making is, if you are buying property in the UK and the price today is the same as the price was last year, that means we've got effectively a stagnating market, a consolidating market. Okay, so I've got a strong belief that what we're going to be seeing during this lockdown period effectively is prices to start to stagnate, which we've already seen. You know, some of the indicators are showing that already, but then side by side with that, to start seeing a slight dip. Okay, now some people, and again, just to give full disclosure and full context, some people I've heard purporting that there's going to be a massive decline, a massive crash. Guys, I'm going to be transparent. I don't see there being a massive crash in property prices. Okay, that's me. I could be wrong. Call me on it. Okay, in the live stream of 2021, if it ends up being a live stream in 2021 April, feel free to say, Samuel, you said last year that there wasn't going to be a massive crash as a result of what's going on right now, but there was. Guys, I make myself accountable to the community by putting myself out here on a live stream. But just my opinion, looking at the metrics, is I do believe there's going to be a dip in prices. I do believe prices are going to dip, but I don't believe there's going to be a massive crash in price as a result of what's going on right now. Now, look, if there's new information in the market, then new things can happen, and I'm open to renegotiate or rediscuss what my views are on that. But with what's going on right now, with things that are taking place that we're currently aware of in the current climate as of April, today's date, okay, I would say to you, I don't perceive there to be a massive downturn in price. Now, the real issue about that, coming back to Ryan's point, he's talking about as a first-time buyer. Whether you're a first-time buyer or an investor, if you're a buyer, if you're in the position of a buyer, you're someone who's trying to acquire an asset right now, the question you should be asking yourself is it a good thing that prices are dropping? Now, if you're a seller, we should all know the answer. The answer is no. A price decrease is not a positive thing for a seller. But if you're a buyer, then that's a question you need to ask yourself. You need to ask yourself that question, like, hold on a minute, is it a positive thing or a negative thing if prices are dropping? Okay, now I'm going to be honest with you. If prices are going to continue to drop, then I would encourage you to get yourself around a coach or a team or a forum or an environment where you guys can strategize on a regular basis, on a personal level basis, on a individual basis, based on your actual circumstance, what's going to be the best thing to do in terms of moving forward, what's going to be the best thing to do in terms of strategizing in order to get things done, in order to make things work for you. Okay, But if you're just looking at buying, okay, then I would encourage you to find ways to protect yourself as you buy. Okay, and that's a lot of what I deal with, creative solutions in terms of property acquisition. But I would encourage you to start looking at how you can creatively control properties, or how you can get into scenarios where you're protecting yourself, because you don't want to buy £100,000 house for 95,000 because there's a slight dip and it keeps dipping, and you end up with an asset worth 80,000 because you instantly end up in what we call negative equity, which isn't ideal for anybody. Okay, or it's not the best scenario anyway. All right, guys. So I'm going to go back into the comments again. Telephone numbers up at the top. If you've got specific property scenarios, situations that you want us to strategize with you guys on, feel free to call the number up above, and we will basically get the team to put your call through so we can try and help you with that. All right, guys. So I'm going to go back to the comments, see if there's any other comments in order for us to move forward with, and I'll jump into that in order to move forward. And guys, like I said, look, today we're talking about strategy in a storm. So we know that the climate is really, it's been nasty for some. Okay, the climate's been really uncomfortable, really untenable for a lot of people. So what I want you guys to do is call in and let's strategize through whatever you're actually going through, because at the end of the day, you don't need to be alone. When people make themselves available, you do not need to be alone. Okay, so in terms of the comments, we got a comment from Paul. Hi, Paul. Great to see you on. And excellent. So Paul's question is, how would you go about looking for investors during this time? Okay, and I think that is a fantastic question. Now, if the answer to this question is going to be of value to you, I've said it already, guys, hit the like button. Okay, now the reason I'm pushing the whole hit the like button is because what I want you to know is when you hit that like button, you're telling the YouTube world that this content is valuable. Okay, and that's important, because if you tell the YouTube world that this content is valuable, then more other people will be presented with this content in order for them to get the same value you're getting. And the same way, guys, I've come out of my way to give value to you guys, I want you to come out of your way in your own little way by pressing like, maybe by hitting share. Okay, if you're that guy who's got a following on Facebook or a following on YouTube, hit share. Let people see what's actually being shared so they can strategize as well. All right, and tell people about this. WhatsApp your friends, WhatsApp your groups, let them know, look, Samuel's doing strategy in the storm. You guys can call in, you can get your questions answered, he can give you some value, etc., etc. All right, so we're going to jump into Paul's question, and Paul's question is a really powerful question because it's a question that someone like myself has to think about. Why? Because I use investors, I work with investors, I've been working with investors for a number of years. We're in 2020 right now, so probably around 5 years I've been working with investors' money. And, prior to that, I've been working with investors in different capacities, i.e. selling deals as a property sourcing agent and having my property sourcing business. So I've been working with investors probably for around 8 to 10 years now. And I've been utilizing investors' funds in my own deals for about 5 years now. So it's a really important question. Now, Paul's question, just to reiterate it again, is how would you go about looking for investors during this current season, during this current time? And the answer to this is going to be twofold. I'm going to give you the real answer, and then I'm going to give you some added value, because a whole bunch of people who are watching this are not going to be able to fit into the real answer, okay? And the reason I'm saying that is because the real answer is really going to apply to people who are a bit further along in the journey. And, there's going to be people who are brand new to investing, people who are just starting their property journey now, and they're going to be thinking, well, okay, how do I move forward in my property journey? Okay, how do I get investors? Well, if you're brand new, the real answer might not work for you. Okay, but I'm going to take away some added value for the people who are brand new. So just to make sure that they're not in a position where they're lost, because I want to give value to everybody who's on the stream. So the real answer, in order to give you guys value, is you need to already have an existing database of investors. Okay, now I know Paul, so I know that Paul would have been doing stuff like, well, I hope Paul would have been doing stuff like this already in his property journey and in his property business. Okay, so Paul, if you haven't been doing stuff like this already in your property business, that's naughty. That's naughty. Let me just leave it there. But the point I'm going to make is this: along your property journey, a time comes where you get the realization that no matter how much money you've got, you're going to run out of funds. Okay, if you're going to buy property and you're going to be an active investor, no matter how much money you've got, you're going to run out of funds. Okay, and for those of you who do not know what I'm talking about when I say active investor, when you finish this live stream, we have a video on the channel which we released very recently. That video is called The 2 Types of Investors. Okay, The 2 Types of Investors. So when you finish watching this live stream, go watch that video. Okay, The 2 Types of Investors. Okay, now, the reason I'm sharing with you about the 2 types of investors is if you're an active investor, you will realize very quickly, you know what, even if I've got £400,000 in the bank, that money's going to run out at some point. And when that money runs out, I do not want to be in a position where I can't buy deals, especially because of this. All right. I don't know if you guys know about exponential growth, but the reason I'm talking about exponential growth is because I want you to understand something. If you start on your property journey today, let's say you just started your property journey today and you start getting results, okay? In a week's time, you'll be more well known in your property journey than you were today, hopefully, if you're getting results. In 2 weeks' time, in 3 weeks' time, in 4 weeks' time, in 100 days' time, for example. Now, the reason I'm saying this is what you need to understand is over time, you build a track record where people get to know you, people start to understand the kind of deals you do, people start to realize, oh, that's your specialism. So most people know me in the property sourcing niche. They know, you know what, Samuel deals in the property sourcing space. He helps people effectively. I spend a lot of time with people who are really, really new, okay, in property. And the reason why is because people who are really, really new, they really have a thirst and hunger for their first deal. So because they're really, really new and really have a thirst and hunger for their first deal, they reach out to someone who can coach them, support them, and help them understand how they can get their first deal, which is all about property sourcing, okay? So property sourcing has its whole entourage of really, really new people. Now, because I've been doing things for quite a while, I also have a whole nother group of people that spend a real lot of time with me. So like the coaching client I was with just before, or on the call to just before I jumped on the live, she has a portfolio of over £4 million. So the second group of people that I basically spend a lot of time with are people who are very, very experienced. And why is that? The reason why is because people who are very experienced in property, who have built their portfolios with a traditional approach, they start realizing when they've spent all their money and they've got a portfolio, which in some cases doesn't really, in many cases, cash flow really well, they start realizing, you know what, I need someone like Samuel who's really creative, who can help me start to understand how I can build my cash flow, or how I can generate more profit, or how I can start to build up equity, okay? And if you don't understand the 3 concepts I've shared, go watch our first live stream 2 weeks ago, where in that live stream, the first strategy in the storm, we spoke about those 3 concepts, okay? The three types of money you can make in property. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because over time you build a track record, okay? And as you build that track record, you get to know people, and people get to know you for your specific specialism or your specific offering or your specific niche. Now, because I spend a lot of time with really successful investors, people that have a successful track record, they've built portfolios, but like I said, they're looking for that creative approach. I've got a lot of people around me who have a lot of money, who have a lot of funds, who have a lot of equity in some cases, who have a lot of profit in some cases, okay? And as a direct byproduct, they're interested in finding ways that their money can work harder, work stronger, work better for them. So what I'm sharing with you guys, for you guys to have a clear understanding about what I'm talking about, is your track record puts you in a position to have the people around you who need you in order for you to invest their funds, okay? Or in order for you to work with them as investors. So what I want to encourage you to do, and this is 2-sided, Paul, as well, and specifically is for Paul, is first determine, all right, and you can do that through the comments. Let us know, are you talking about investors to buy deals from a sourcing perspective, because that's one group of investors, or are you talking about investors to invest in your deals? And what I'm going to do regardless is I'm going to basically go on both of those tangents and give you guys value in both. So going back to the main thing I was sharing, you have the exponential growth, okay, of your own property journey, of people getting to know you, of people starting to say, okay, this is what you do, this is how you do it, this is how you add value, this is how you bring an offering or a service to the marketplace, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, as that takes place, what generally happens is, the answer to the question, if I give a 1-word answer to Paul's question, is tap into your existing network. That's what I'd say to you, okay? So when you ask me the question, how would you go about looking for investors during this time? The answer is you should tap into your existing network. Now, anybody can tap into their existing network. Anybody can do that. Any single person can tap into their existing network. I guarantee it. Okay. But the issue is there's certain people who have an advantage in tapping into their existing network over other people. And that's what I was alluding to at the beginning of answering the question. There's people who have been investing for a while. They've been investing for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 12 years, 24 years. And because of that, they've built up a name, they've built up a track record. Maybe in some cases, they've even built up a business and brand. And as a direct byproduct, when they tap into their existing network, they're going to be able to just see people pull out funds and say, you know what, I'll invest in you right now, because right now I can see there might be an opportunity. And obviously, if you know how to present the current opportunity that there is, then there'll be no reason why they wouldn't invest with you right now in this current climate. Okay, so the first thing, the real answer, like I said, which won't work for a lot of the new people, unfortunately, but I'll give you some value in a moment. The real primary answer that I want to share with you guys is tap into your existing network. Your existing network has revenue streams beyond your comprehension. Okay, and again, if you're one of these people who come on the live stream like you should with a notepad and pen, I want you to write that down as a note. Okay, my existing network has revenue beyond my comprehension. Okay, because I say this to a lot of my coaching clients all the time. Everybody has access to funds. Okay, the way I say it is a bit different. The way I say it is everybody has funds, and if they don't have funds, they at least have access to funds. But that's something I say to people all the time. Everybody has access to funds. Why am I sharing that? Because if you're looking for investors right now, you might think in your head psychologically, oh, now is the worst time to look for investors. Oh, now, let me share this with you. There have been several articles in the last 2 weeks from banks, okay, where information has basically been shared with tabloid papers, with newspapers, with media outlets, which have indicated, okay, on several different platforms, several different media outlets have indicated that the UK public, the British public, have been trying to take their funds out of banks. Why? Because they're afraid that there may be a crash. What does that mean? That means you have a whole population where the media are telling us that a percentage of that population, a sizable percentage, a percentage that is worth noting, i.e. to put it in the newspaper or in other media outlets, are trying to exit the traditional banking structure. Excuse me. Now, why is this important? The reason this is so important is if you have a sizable amount of our community trying to exit the traditional banking structure, what does that say to you? What does that say to me about the opportunity right now to help people invest their funds? Okay, write in the comments, guys. Okay, write in the comments, leave in the comments, let me know what that says to us. Okay, because I know what it says to me. Okay, and I've been taking advantage of that since this whole predicament has started. And I'm going to keep taking advantage of that because that's what I do in my property business. I work with people and help them generate better returns on their investment. I help them generate better returns from money that's currently stagnating and catching dust and mold whilst in the bank. So the point I'm making to you is I want you to think about it from your own standpoint. I want you to think about it from where you are in your vantage point. Can you tap into your existing network? And if you can tap into your existing network, what potentially can be done with your existing network to help them, increase the revenue potential, to help them increase the potential in terms of the asset that they have in their property business? Okay. And guys, this is important things. This is important stuff. And the reason it's so important is because people are looking for people like you. People are looking for people like me to help them move forward in their property journey. People are looking for this. They're looking for this. They're actively, eyes wide open, looking for the support. But the problem is, if you are not presenting yourself as someone who can potentially provide that support, why would anybody talk to you? Why would anybody connect with you? Why would anybody go for you? Now, I'm going to add just one other thing before I talk about for people who are brand new, how they can move forward in this same regard and find investors. So the other thing I wanted to add was I mentioned, I'm going to segue into this as well, is if you're looking for people to buy deals, okay? So I mentioned tap into your existing network if you're looking for investors. But if you're looking for people to buy deals off you, so if this is a sourcing perspective, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I know Paul has a property sourcing business, okay? Now, in a sourcing perspective, if you're looking for investors who are going to buy deals from you, then what you need to do is tap into open networks. Okay, not just networks that you have existing. There may be networks you haven't tapped into yet, which online you can tap into. These might be LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups. They might be Instagram communities. The point is, there are going to be communities right now where the mantra in that community is, what can we buy? And if you can tap into those communities, and if you have something of value to offer to those communities, then you can radically shift things for yourself, and you can start to offload opportunities in this current climate. Guys, right now you have so many service apartment operators trying to trying to flog their property. If you have a creative structure, similar to some of the creative structures I've been sharing with people in webinars we've been running recently. But if you have a creative structure, you could be the person who takes those opportunities from those people and basically provides those opportunities to other people who are looking to buy in this current climate. Okay? Now, one of the things we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be offering a webinar on Monday, okay, talking about how you can take advantage in this current climate. Okay? Now, if you tap the link that has just been put into the chat, okay, www.impactproperties.co.uk/webinar, you can go register for that webinar. But the point is, on that webinar, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you how you can take advantage in this current climate, okay? Now, if you've been on the webinar recently with me, what you will realize is every single one of these webinars, I'm sharing fresh content. Why am I sharing fresh content in all of these webinars? Because as each single day goes on, new information comes to the market for people like you and me. New information comes to the market for the property investor. And as the new information comes to the market, we need to take advantage of that new information. So feel free to press the link inside of the chat. That link is going to get you the opportunity to register for our webinar coming up on Monday. I believe it's Monday at 8 p.m. And on that webinar, we're going to be breaking down how you can actually take advantage in this current climate, how you can start generating more revenue, or how you can start generating revenue if you haven't even tapped into property opportunities yet in the current climate. Because that's what we love doing. We love helping people in that way. So the webinar is going to be an assisted help besides what we're doing here, answering your property questions on the live stream. All right. So jumping back into Paul's question. So far, what have we covered? We've covered how you can find investors right now. We've also covered how you can find people to buy property opportunities right now if you're a property sourcer and your definition of an investor is effectively someone who's going to buy a deal off of you rather than someone who's going to put funds with you for you to move forward. And like I said earlier, I want to kind of also provide some information for people who are brand new. Okay, people who are absolutely new to property. Because the problem is, and I see this all the time, especially with some of my coaching clients, you get these guys who talk to one kind of audience, who talk to the more advanced, okay? And my previous answer about tapping into your existing network, it is really for the more advanced people. Okay, it is really for people who've already got people following them, who already know, okay, he invests in property, Samuel does deals, Samuel can, put my money to work, Samuel can find me an opportunity, Samuel's company can work with me, okay? So what I want to do is work with the people who are brand new, okay? And there's two things I'm going to share with you. The first one is exactly the same, but to the best of your ability. To the best of your ability, if you're brand new to property and you're looking to find investors, tap in to your existing community, to your existing network. Try your best, okay? Now, if you've never done that before, it may be a bit challenging for you. You may not have an idea of what I'm talking about, okay, in terms of how to do that. And I'm going to give you some, look, this is a shameless plug. Go get a coach, okay? And the reason it's a shameless plug is because I coach people. I'm not saying I need to be your coach, because coaching doesn't work like that. If you want to coach in property, you need someone who has values that resonate with yours, and you need to resonate with them. And you need to have people who are of the same kind of ilk, people that you can get along with, people that you can extract value from them. Okay, so that's the coaching thing to the side. So I'm not saying to you, come and connect with me and let me be your coach. That's not what I'm saying to you. But what I'm saying to you is go and get a coach. Surround yourself with a mastermind group. Surround yourself with peers, okay, who are trying to achieve a similar thing to you. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I've been hosting networking events for several years now. And one of the things I've learned from those networking events is your environment will make you or break you. And what most people do in property is they start out, oh yeah, I want to do this in property, I want to do that in property, and they surround themselves with the same people they were surrounded with before they got into property. And the problem with that is those people are not going to help you succeed in property necessarily. So the first answer to someone who's brand new is the same answer as the person who's really, really experienced, but with a little bit of a caveat. And what that is go and tap into your existing community to find investors. but surround yourself with coaches, surround yourself with people who can help you, so that when you do tap into that existing network, you tap in a way which is advantageous for you, and not only advantageous for you, but also advantageous for the people that you're tapping into. Okay, so your coach will help you do that. Your mastermind group will help you do that. The investors around you will help you do that. Guys, I'm going to say it again. If you got value so far on the live stream, hit like. Feel free to share this content and hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, so you can get more value out of the channel. Now, going forward, in terms of someone who's new, the second part to this, which I think is of immense value. Okay, so yes, tap into your existing network. Yes, surround yourself with a mastermind group, surround yourself with coaches, surround yourself with people who can help you, etc., etc. But the second part to this is what I think is even more valuable. Okay, share your journey. Share your journey. Now, the heart behind share your journey is really about being transparent. Okay, so there's a video on our channel. It's called Property versus the Coronavirus. Okay, that was the first video that I think any property person in the UK put out about what's going on with the COVID-19 situation and property. Okay, and we put that video out some time ago, and it was like the next day, 2-3 days after we put that video out, we started seeing all these other property people dropping their YouTube version of what's going on. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to go and watch that video after the live stream, and this is the reason I want you to watch that video. So simple. Okay, I'm going to be so transparent as to why I want you to go watch that video. There is one concept that I harp on about, one concept I extrapolate, one concept that the whole video really goes into depth about, and that concept is transparency. Okay, one of the concepts that I share in that video is that many people right now are struggling. The reason we started doing the strategy in the storm on the Impact Show is just because of people struggling in property. I had so many people reaching out to me. I host a networking event which attracts over 100 people every single month to talk and learn and discuss about property. And as a direct byproduct, you become a public figure in that sense in the property space. And I had people reaching out to me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on every platform, on WhatsApp, saying to me, Samuel, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? And a lot of people were actually in hardship in their property business. And what I basically surmised as I looked at all of these people that were problematically dealing with things. Okay, and this is not everyone, guys. I'm not trying to, mar everyone with a broad brush, but I'm trying to give you some insight. One of the clearest things I saw is that most people's challenge was the fact that they did not start by being transparent. They didn't start by being transparent with the landlords that they're taking rent-to-rents off. They didn't start by being transparent with the sellers that they were talking to about potentially acquiring their properties. They didn't start by being transparent. Okay, so guys, I just want you to go and watch that video so you can understand. Thank you. It's in the chat now. Video on coronavirus. Go watch that video when you finish this live stream. Okay, there's 3 videos I've mentioned right now for you guys to go and watch. Thank you, Zeke Diligence, for your thanks for the clarity. There's 3 videos right now that I've said in this particular live stream you guys need to go watch. Okay, 2 of them are in the chat. Okay, first one, why they're rich and why they're poor. Second one I want you guys to go watch is, I don't remember it, but when I remember it, I'll tell you. And then the third one is the coronavirus. So when you go watch that video and you understand about transparency, you will see why I'm saying if you're new to property and you're looking for property investors to support you, to back you right now, your key is going to be to be transparent. Share your journey, okay? Because you might not understand this, but as you share your journey in this current climate, you are going to attract people who have similar values to you. Okay, and that's just the way things work, guys. It works like this all the time, whether there's lockdown, whether there's no lockdown, government legislation, no government legislation, mortgage rates are high, mortgage rates are low. It makes no difference. The key is sharing your journey and being transparent. Tell people who you are, tell people what you're doing, tell people what you're trying to achieve. And look, if you want some extra value, write in the comments right now, extra value, and I'll give you some extra value in that regard. Okay, but the point I'm making is share your journey and be transparent. Because as you share your journey and you decide to be transparent, what you're going to do is you're going to open the door to people who believe in you to work with you. Okay. And when I say people who believe in you to work with you, I'm talking about investors. I'm talking about people to fund you. So this, again, going back to Paul's question, how do you find investors in this current climate? Share your journey. Okay, I'm going to share with you one way that you cannot find investors right now in this current climate. Okay, because this is going to help you understand how you can find investors in this current climate. I hope you guys are ready for this. Okay, one massive way that you can make sure that you do not find investors in this current climate is by not saying anything. Okay, and I hope you understand that, because it's a very clear concept. It's not a concept that's difficult. It's not a concept that should be hard for anybody. It's a very, very clear concept. One easy way for you to ensure that you will not get investors in this current climate, okay, is by not saying anything. Okay, so if you choose to say nothing in this climate, okay, you're a property investor. You've been investing for 4 years, but for some reason, there's apparently a lockdown. There's health scares right now, and as a direct byproduct, you go quiet, you go mute. Well, let me assure you something. You're not going to have any investors phoning you. You're not going to have any investors looking for you. You're not going to have any investors saying, "I need to work with Paul," okay, or anyone else. Okay, this is not a show on Paul. This is on anyone else. It's general principles I'm sharing with you guys. All right. If you're not saying anything right now, then I guarantee you no one's going to be approaching you with opportunities and with deals. And I can tell you that, look, guys, today I haven't done the second cam where I can show you on the whiteboard, but on the whiteboard here, I have strategized about 4 or 5 deals that I've been working on in the last week. Okay. In the last week, portfolio landlords trying to offload. Okay, why am I strategizing on all of these deals for my own personal portfolio and those around me? The reason why is because I'm sharing my journey. I'm letting people know I'm still looking for deals right now. I haven't stopped looking for deals because of lockdown. I've got infrastructure, I've got team, I've got things in place to make sure that we can still make things happen in this climate. So share your journey is the key. Now, I've got a bunch of comments here, extra. Give extra value, extra. So because of that, I'm going to give you this extra value before I leave you guys. Okay. The extra value is this. If you're new to property, this is for the guys who are new, and it's going to work for the more experienced as well. But predominantly, I'm giving this for the guys who are new. So the guys who are new to property, I've said there's 2 main things you need to think about in terms of looking for investors in this current climate. The first is tapping into your existing network. And the second is sharing your journey and being transparent. Now, here's the extra value. Where are you trying to go? What is your goal? Okay? Where are you trying to go and what is your goal? Write that down. If you're one of the people who are taking notes, write that down right now. Where am I trying to go and what is my goal? Now, here it goes. The clearer you make your destination, the easier it will be for people to fuel your vehicle. All right? That is a principle. If you have not hit like and you just heard that principle, you need to hit like. Okay? I don't know if you hit like before or after you write that down, but you need to do both. You need to hit that like button and you need to write that down. And if you're getting enough value, you need to hit subscribe so you can know when we're going live next. But the reason I'm sharing this with you guys, I want you to understand something. The clearer you make your destination to yourself and to potential investors and to other people, the easier it will become for people to fuel you. Now, let me make this really simple for you, because some people are listening to this and thinking, oh, that makes sense. That sounds nice. Okay, it don't just sound nice. Okay, this is real value. So let me help you understand where the real value is in this. If you know that you're driving from London to Birmingham, 199 miles, however many miles that journey is, you instinctively should then know how much petrol/fuel you will need for the car. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is the first basis is the moment you know your destination and your destination becomes clear to you, you then start to know what kind of tools you need. I need a car. Do I need a helicopter? Do I need a jet? Okay. The second thing is, not only do you understand your tools, you then get a better understanding of what resources you need. I.e., if I'm taking a car, I'm going to need petrol. If I'm taking a train, I'm going to need a ticket, etc. And then third and foremost, you can then start to calculate what kind of investment you need. Okay. So if I'm driving to Birmingham, I might need a full tank of petrol. Okay. Depending on the car you've got. So a full tank of petrol has a particular cost. And that particular cost is a number. Okay, it's not anything ambiguous. It's not, oh yeah, full tanks roughly. No, a full tank is a full tank. And you when you start pressing the pump will tell you we're done now when you hit that number. So the point I'm making to you is all of this added knowledge comes the moment you have a clear destination. Let me even give you more value. If I say I'm going to Birmingham, Birmingham's a big place. And because Birmingham's a big place, I might have a full tank and I might start going to Birmingham. But if I know my exact destination, I can put that into the mapping software I've got. I can put that into the sat nav in the car. The car can tell me that's exactly 196 miles. And the moment I know my destination is exactly 196 miles, I can start preparing even more adequately, even more effectively, and even more efficiently. Guys, I hope you understand what I'm saying to you. Now, if you extrapolate that concept I've shared with you and implement that into the world of property, which is what we're talking about here, you begin to start to understand something very, very powerful. Okay? What is the thing you can then start to understand, which is very, very powerful? And that's what I'm going to share with you. The thing you start to understand, which is extremely powerful, the moment you get to that place where you can extrapolate that concept and idea about the car and the destination and making your destination clear, is that the exact same principle applies to your property journey. So if you're brand new and you're starting your property journey from scratch and you want to build a portfolio of investment properties, or you want to build a portfolio of rent-to-rent properties, or you just want to buy your first home, like Ryan said as the first comment today, or you want to do a bit more than buy your home, you want to buy a home and look at what you can do going forward, etc., etc. Here's the key. The key is have a clear destination. Have a clear understanding of your goals. Have a clear understanding of what you're trying to achieve, why you're trying to achieve it, and then convey that clear understanding to others. Because the clearer the destination is to you, the more you will know this is what you need. These are the resources you need. These are the tools you need. These are the coaches you need. This is the mastermind group you need. These are the people you need. This is the power team you need. This is what you need around you in order to move forward. Now, guys, as you can see on the screen, we got our free resource for you. Our featured resource today is the Sourcing Blueprint. It's a free ebook. You can go to the link impactproperties.co.uk/sourcing blueprint in order to get that, guys. It's not case sensitive, so you can do uppercase, lowercase, up to you. Okay, uppercase, lowercase, up to you. Now, those of you who know me, I've been in the property space for a number of years. I've created a bunch of resources. Here's a bunch of the resources I've created. 30 Ways in 30 Days. That's a video program where we help people understand 30 different property strategies. Team 10, where we help people understand about the 10 key players they need in their property investment journey. The Property Investors A to Z, where we break down the different words in property for people who are absolute novices and have no idea what they're doing. Now, like I said to you guys, this is not about pitching. This is not about all of that stuff. What this is about is helping you on your journey, which is why we're giving you the free resource, the Sourcing Blueprint. Help you understand how you can successfully source property deals. Okay? And the great thing about successfully sourcing property deals is they don't have to be for you. They could be for anyone. They could be for investors. They can be for someone else. Or if the deals are good enough, if you're happy enough with the deals, you can take them for yourself. Okay, guys, this is Samuel I Can Win. I know you got value, so hit that like button. Feel free to press subscribe, become a part of the community. Impact show is over, and I hope you've had a great day. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Happy investing.